If you are a family making less than $250,000 a year, you will not see your taxes go up.
You will not see one dime's worth of tax increase.
Any form of tax increase.
Question: didn't the president break that promise?
Well, Chris, if you go back and you look at the laws that have been enacted since the president's taken office, we have cut taxes for those families. We have reduced their taxes.
But according to the Supreme Court, this is going to raise taxes for those families.
That's not what the Supreme Court said. What the Supreme Court said was this was constitutional. They said it didn't matter what Congress called it. It is a penalty for the 1%.
Wait a minute, sir.
It is a penalty for the 1% who choose not to buy insurance.
Mr. Liu, they call it a tax.
No, actually, technically what they said is the Congress has many powers. There's a Commerce Clause, there's taxing powers, and it was constitutional. That's what they said. They said it doesn't matter what you call it.
I can't let you go there. It specifically said that it is not constitutional under the Commerce Clause. They said it is constitutional under the tax. And as to the question about raising taxes for the middle class, if I may, sir, let's just look at the record. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates that in 2016, 4 million Americans will pay the mandate penalty or tax. 75% of those people will make less than $120,000 a year. And the CBO says between 2012 and 2021, those folks will pay $27 billion in additional taxes. So,
Chris,
if I may just finish my question, and then I promise I'll let you talk. The middle class is taking quite a hit by what the Supreme Court said is a tax.
I think if you look at all of the laws enacted in the last 3.5 years, you would see that those families have a tax cut. That all the independent analysts, whether it's the Congressional Budget Office or others, would validate that there has been a tax cut for
I'm not arguing
families.
that. All I'm saying is that this is a tax increase on the middle class of $27 billion over the next 10 years.
No, what this is a law that says if you can afford insurance and you choose not to buy it, and you choose to have your health costs be a burden to others, you'll pay a penalty so that you'll pay your fair share. That's what this law says. For the 99% of the people who buy insurance or who get it through the tax cuts that are in this act, they're not going to be affected. You keep your insurance, you don't pay any kind of penalty. For the very few people who decide to be free riders and not have insurance but still have their costs go into the system so the rest of us pay it, there's a penalty. It is not a burden on the middle class.
Well, again, the nonpartisan CBO says 4 million Americans will be paying that tax by 2016. And let's look at why Chief Justice Roberts called it a tax. It will be collected and enforced by the Internal Revenue Service. What you pay is calculated as a percentage of your income. And here's what the president's lawyer, the Solicitor General Donald Verrilli, told the court in defending the mandate.
Not only is it fair to read this as an exercise of the tax power, but this court has got an obligation to construe it as an exercise of the tax power if it can be upheld on that basis.
Why? Mr. Liu, if it walks, looks, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Well, Chris, it's been a long time since I've practiced law, but I know one of the things about our judicial system is that you can make arguments to the court on multiple grounds. That's what Don was doing. He was saying there are a lot of ways to look at this. It was set up and it was not called a tax.